Today we've got a special treat for you here on Clubhouse Gas. One of the foremost authorities on lacrosse in the United States of America. He's won national championships as a player and coach at the University of North Carolina and Princeton University. And now he is a high school coach here in Georgia, one of the largest areas of growth for lacrosse nationwide. And we're going to talk to him about several important topics. He's very interesting. He's a great guy. And I hope you stay tuned to Clubhouse Gas. We're fortunate enough now to be joined by men's lacrosse coach Jim Buczek. Jim, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thank you for having us.
I want to talk about a couple of things. And we'll start with just a little bit about your background in the game. Where'd you come from? How'd you get to this point in your career?
Okay. I grew up just outside of Baltimore, Maryland, and one of the hotbeds of lacrosse. I was fortunate enough to go to a school much like Lovett, a Catholic Jesuit education, Loyola, that had good football, good basketball, and good lacrosse. And fortunately enough, coming out of Maryland, I went to the University of North Carolina, played 4 years there, was fortunate enough to win a national championship as a player, went to Princeton and coached there under Bill Tierney for 2 years, got another national championship there, and then spent 7 years back in Carolina as an assistant coach. And then our family moved down to Georgia, and now I'm coaching lacrosse and freshman basketball and teaching history here at the Lovett School.
How do you go from coaching national championships in Division I to being a high school coach? What made you make that transition?
It was a family situation, to be honest with you. My wife was the volleyball coach at the University of Wake Forest, and she's coaching in the fall. I'm coaching in the spring, and we're both recruiting year-round.
Right.
And then the short version is in the span of 18 months, she got breast cancer and pregnant twice.
Wow.
And we were both doing this, and something had to give.
Right.
So it wound up being the college recruiting world really had changed from what we signed up as, in 1993. By 2000, the footballization, the arms race mentality had kind of taken over in the so-called other sports, and we just couldn't make it work anymore. And to be honest, it was a godsend to be able to come here and be involved in the high school community.
Well, talking about the footballization with recruiting, how much luck have you had since you've been here at Lovett getting guys to the next level?
We've been pretty fortunate. We came at a good time where Coach Farrelletto, who's now over there with our JV, started the program 10 years ago, so we didn't have to play catch-up so much, maybe as some of the other schools have. But just last week, we had an alum, Neil Hicks, who's a two-time All-American here at Lovett, goes to Notre Dame on a scholarship. He never would have got in without lacrosse.
Right.
So nothing else, he's going to get a degree from Notre Dame. He plays in every game as a freshman. Last week they had their season opener, and he has the game-winning assist in a top 10 game at Loyola. Chris Palmer's mom, who just stopped by, her son played for Bucknell at Duke last week, against the number 2 team in the country. Right. So it's been really neat to see.
So it's been pretty successful. And now you get to shepherd those kids along and give them some advice because you've been there as a player and a coach.
Yeah, and not only, the public schools, Milton has a kid at Yale, Jerome Arnold, who's one of the best players Georgia's produced, and a kid from, a Georgia public school is going to Yale.
Right.
Is he smart enough to do the work? Certainly. Does he get in the door because of lacrosse? Certainly.
So obviously kids are doing well because of lacrosse here in the Southeast, but it's not always been that way. What's kind of been the fuel to the fire that's made the sport grow so quickly down here?
I think the biggest fuel is the sport sells itself. It's a combination of basketball and football. It's outside, a nice spring day, 75 degrees. You get to hit people, you get to run up and down the court. It's a high-scoring thing for all the folks that have sat through, and all the parents who've sat through, a 1-0 baseball game or a 0-0 soccer tie. Hey, go play this game. It's 15-13, and you get to whack people. That sells itself right there. So that's the kids. It's easy.
Now, your coordination of other coaches, is that really important as far as growing the sport goes? Is other coaches working together? Has that been a kind of key to making the sport grow so fast here in the Southeast?
Well, I think lacrosse all over the place is a very tight-knit community. We look out for each other. We're going to try and beat each other's brains out, inside the lines, but everybody looks out for each other, and each other's kids very good for the good of the game. I don't know whether that's part of the history of the game or the type of people it attracts. But that's been a constant, whether you're in Baltimore, Maryland, Atlanta, Georgia, San Diego, California.
Well, I've really enjoyed my experience, and I'm getting my first ever, if you go back on the site and look, our very first show we ever showed was me getting a lacrosse lesson from a 14-year-old boy. So every chance I get to get more exposed to the sport, I'm enjoying it. So thank you so much for having us.
No.
We look forward to the Notre Dame Dartmouth game.
Right.
He's Jim, I'm Casey, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow for another great edition of Clubhouse Gas.